People say chaos doesn't knock, it kicks the door in. But in my case, it didn't even bother with the door. It started on a 3-foot-wide strip of dirt behind my townhouse. A strip so small most folks wouldn't give it a second look. Until I bought it. Yeah. I bought the ground my neighbors walked over every single day, and that's where the trouble began. It all started on a sticky summer afternoon when I found an envelope taped to my door. Notice of available property from the HOA. Inside was a map. A contract and a ridiculous price. $150 for that tiny, forgotten strip between the back fence and the woods. I laughed. Who buys dirt? But the more I looked at it, the more I realized something. That strip ran right behind everyone's backyard. And everyone used it as a shortcut to walk dogs, sneak trash, gossip, you name it. But technically, it wasn't theirs. And soon it was mine. Why would you buy that? My best friend Marcus asked when I showed him the contract. I shrugged. Because no one else did. And because the HOA said I can build a gate. A gate? For what? That's the thing, I said, lowering my voice like I was about to reveal a state secret. They said the new security regulations require coded access. Since I own the strip, I control the code. Marcus blinked slowly. Bro, you just bought drama. Drama wasn't even the word. The day after the deed was finalized, I installed a black steel gate at the end of the strip. It wasn't big. Just one of those keypad access security gates you see behind apartment buildings. Clean, simple, necessary. According to the HOA, anyway. By that evening, I had 7 angry knocks at my front door. The first was Mrs. Kellerman, the queen of the cul-de-sac. 60-something, sharp like vinegar, and armed with a tiny dog that hated me almost as much as she did. You can't just block the path, she snapped. I didn't block anything, I said calmly. I secured my property. It's community space. It was. The HOA sold it to me. Her jaw locked so tight I thought she'd crack a tooth. Then give us the code. I crossed my arms. Sure, once we talk rules. That strip was trashed with dog poop, beer cans, and broken planters. If people want access, they need to respect it. She scoffed. Oh, this is about control. No, I said. It's about responsibility. Behind her, other neighbors gathered, whispering, glaring, waiting. That's when I realized something chilling. I wasn't just the new owner of random dirt. I was the guy standing between them and a shortcut they treated like a constitutional right. Chaos hadn't just arrived, it had unpacked its bags. And when the sun set that night, someone slipped a note under my door. No signature. No greeting. Just one line. You made a mistake. The next morning felt different. Too quiet. You know that tense, heavy kind of silence. Like the neighborhood was holding its breath? Yeah, that. Even the birds felt like they were whispering. I stepped outside with my coffee and nearly choked on it. Someone had spray-painted across my new steel gate in huge, dripping letters. Who do you think you are? That didn't take long, Marcus muttered beside me. He had shown up unannounced with breakfast tacos because he said I looked like someone about to make bad decisions. He wasn't wrong. I knelt, touching the dry paint. The gate cost more than my car insurance, and now it looks like a crime scene. You should set up cameras, he said. People are getting bold. Bold was an understatement. Around noon, the doorbell rang. I checked the peephole and groaned. The neighbor brigade was back. Leading them was Mrs. Kellerman, backed by a handful of residents looking like they had rehearsed a coup. I opened the door just enough to communicate that I valued oxygen. We've taken a vote, she announced. On what? On you, she said, thrusting a paper into my hand. A petition, 32 signatures. Either take down the gate, she demanded, or we'll escalate this. This is legal property, I reminded her. I bought it fair and square. It's not about ownership, she said. It's about community. Behind her, Mr. Dobbs, a usually quiet guy who always wore mismatched socks, finally spoke up. My kids use that path to get to the bus stop. Now they're walking around the long way. My daughter's been late twice. I softened a little. Kids I could understand. Entitlement, not so much. I'm willing to work with you, I said, but we need rules. No trash, no pet mess, no late-night partying, no cutting through my yard, and... We don't need policing, Kellerman snapped. We need the code. I exhaled slowly. You'll get a code, but not until we meet and agree on shared responsibility. You can't force us. I'm not, I said. But I'm also not handing over access to people who trashed the place for years. A wave of murmurs rippled through the group. A few heads nodded. Some looked embarrassed. Others glared. Kellerman's lips thinned. You'll regret this. They turned and walked off like a storm cloud retreating. Except storms usually end. This one was just regrouping. That night, around 1 a.m., I heard sharp metal clinks from the backyard. I grabbed a flashlight, stepped outside, and caught two silhouettes near the gate. Hey! I shouted. They bolted into the woods, vanishing like smoke. Heart hammering, I approached the gate. The keypad was hanging by the wires, smashed. Someone had tried to break in, and they had gotten close. I swallowed hard, adrenaline buzzing through me. This wasn't a petty neighborhood squabble anymore. This was war. And as I stared at the ruined keypad swinging in the dark, one thought chilled me. Someone in this neighborhood was willing to break the law, vandalize property, and sneak around in the dead of night, all for a shortcut. Or maybe it wasn't about the path at all. Maybe it was about me. The next morning, I didn't wake up angry. I woke up determined. Something about seeing that smashed keypad, hanging like a broken limb, pushed me past frustration and straight into clarity. Whoever did it wasn't just impatient, they were desperate. And desperate people aren't usually driven by convenience alone. So I called an emergency neighborhood meeting. Not a dramatic showdown, not a fight, a gathering. I stood in the community center, sipping lukewarm coffee while the neighbors filed in, whispering, glaring, avoiding eye contact. Even the kids, sitting cross-legged beside their parents, looked like they were waiting for a teacher to announce detention. When the room finally settled, I cleared my throat. All right, I said. Let's talk. Mrs. Kellerman crossed her arms so tightly I worried she'd snap a rib. Are you finally giving us the code? No, I said. I'm giving you the truth. Silence. Sharp silence. I stepped closer, holding up the vandalized keypad. This happened last night. Someone tried to break in. And honestly, that scared me. Not because they almost got through the gate, but because it told me something about us. I scanned the room. Eyes dropped. Feet shuffled. We've all been acting like this strip of land is the problem. The gate, the code, me. But none of that is the real issue. I let the words sink in before continuing. The real issue is that somewhere along the way, we stopped being neighbors. A few people looked up. Not many, but enough. We stopped talking. Stopped caring about how our actions affected each other. Some of you used that path and left trash there. Some let your dogs go there without cleaning up. Some treated it like someone else's responsibility. And I'm not saying that to accuse you. I'm saying it because it's what actually broke this neighborhood, not a piece of metal with buttons. Mr. Dobbs raised his hand, voice low. I didn't know the kids were leaving trash there. I didn't know it looked that bad. I'm sorry. A soft wave of murmurs followed, apologetic this time instead of angry. Then something unexpected happened. Little Emma, Dobbs's daughter, maybe 9 years old, stood up and said, "We don't want you to feel scared." That one sentence hit the room like a heartbeat, and it hit me harder than I expected. I took a breath. I'm not scared anymore, because I think we can fix this, but not with anger, and definitely not with vandalism. We fix this with responsibility, with respect, with actual communication. I placed the broken keypad on the table. So here's my offer. I'm installing a new gate today, and it will have a code, but you don't get it by demanding it. You get it by earning it, by agreeing to shared rules and helping keep that path clean and safe for everyone. For the first time, Kellerman's expression softened. Not much, but enough to notice. We can do that, she said quietly. And just like that, the tension cracked open into something that felt a lot like hope. Later that evening, after the paper was signed and the responsibilities divided, I installed the new keypad. This one shined, stronger, cleaner, untouched. I typed in the new access code, stepped back, and smiled. Not because I owned the strip, because we all finally did. If you want a safer, kinder community, don't wait for someone else to fix it. Start the conversation. Take responsibility. Be the neighbor you wish you had, because one small action can change the whole neighborhood.